Hello there. Welcome to the Gatherings update. We have some news for you, camp builders, but also the others. And Victor, I will let you start with some exciting news.
Really? Thank you. Maybe we should just start this as the bi-weekly Victor and Audrey gathering show. So, yeah, I wanted to share some ideas because what I've been really investing my time in, and I feel like I've gotten addicted to it, I should start doing my operational stuff, is doing outreach and having amazing conversations with amazing humans, which is given me a really incredible kind of a cross view, wide view of the ecosystem and the energy in it. And it's also given me the opportunity to explain the gathering over and over and over and over again, which as it turns out has been super interesting because I keep on discovering new things and being able, I think it's about being able to turn felt ideas and feelings like this direction makes sense into being able to explain it. And one idea which I've really come across over the past few calls, which I think really resonates with people, is really powerful, is what we're trying to do with the gathering is build the ecosystem. But why? Probably many, if not all of us, have seen this negative spiral of when somebody's trying to work on a project, they don't have enough money, they get too busy, so they can't reach out and get help. So they don't have more projects, so they're not supported, so they become overwhelmed, so they become more busy, so they can do less work. This downward negative spiral can be individual or a project, and it's stifling and it's killing projects, it's killing people. It's just like it's not allowing us to progress. But what I believe is we can create a positive spiral where when people reach out even a little bit and get some support and give some support, they feel a little bit stronger, they get partners, they get projects, they get work, and then they have a little bit more energy to give a little bit more to the ecosystem. And oftentimes, giving doesn't mean that you give people work or money. Just being there for somebody for half an hour, for an hour, to listen and say, yeah, I know that sucks, I'm going through that too, right? So this support, it's oftentimes not the huge things, right? Just enabling people to feel that they're not alone in, trying to deal with whether the environmental trauma or their project and all of this. So I believe that a key idea of the gathering is that we can create this positive spiral where everybody just does a little bit for the ecosystem, and that adds up to a massive thing, and we go to this positive direction. What do you think about that, Audrey?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting to hear you talk about it in those words, because I've been trying to explain this idea to people and to myself also, and I think I've struggled to find the language, but for me it touches on a little bit to this idea of you have to take this one step back that you can move forward, right? I have spoken to a lot of people who have told me, yes, it's really exciting, I love it, I want to come, but it's really hard for me to take a whole 5 days off, and so on and so forth. And for me, it's really about infusing this, as you're saying, this culture of yes, and right? It's those 5 days that, if you treat it as a team retreat, for example, will actually genuinely support the work that you're doing in the year forward. It's this 30 minutes that you take speaking to someone instead of grinding on your Excel spreadsheet that will actually support your whole day, right? So I see it almost as a practice at collective level of the ecosystem. You know what we hear all the time, this if you meditate 10 minutes in the morning, those 10 minutes will make such a huge difference on those 8 hours a day. And what happens if we take this again at the collective level, but also in our projects, right, in the professional realm? And so for me, this culture of collaboration has this element of practice.
Yeah. So that's one idea. And then the other thing that I wanted to share is, and this is less of a formed factual thing, more of like a sensing. It feels like there's a bubbling in the ecosystem. And of course, I'm in my own bubble. I talk to the select people and all of this, but I've talked to elders, full on white hair, project list, book list, this long, that have been doing this for 30, 40 years and have been ecosystem weaving. And they tell me there is a bubbling. You know, until a few years ago, I had a map of the key players, and then I gave up because it's too many things happening. So it really feels, and as with this positive spiral, I think there is going to be some sort of a critical mass where all of these movements, I don't know what happens on the other side of that gate, but I think maybe it'll just all become much easier. And I think we're starting to somehow reach this point of criticality. I don't know what's going to happen this year, it'll take 10 years, but it really feels like something is shifting. How is
Yeah.
yours?
I mean, it's interesting because this topic came up in one of my conversations this week, and I was saying that actually everyone is mapping the ecosystem, right? I don't know how it's been in your calls, Victor, but in mine, I think I have at least 20 people that have told me we're mapping the ecosystem, and I find it really interesting because what that tells me is that there is a need in the space to map things out. And what I read in it is that people sense that there is a lot happening, and a lot happening means a lot of potential for collaboration, for partnership, for new products and solutions emerging. And people seem to need to have a clear vision of what's happening. I'm not sure mapping is doable, as you're saying. A lot of people are giving up on it because there's just too much going on. I don't know how the mappings are easily utilized, as in how the value is actually transformed. I think we have a lot of them out there, and it's not that easy actually for us to use it on a daily basis. And I really see the gathering as an alternative to the ecosystem mapping. Instead of spending 500 hours, creating massive databases of everything, or it's not instead of, maybe it's on top of, but the gathering itself will be a territory, right? And as I was walking around the land this weekend, starting to zone and imagine which camp was going to go there, I had this realization that the gathering itself for 5 days was going to be this microcosm of not all the actors, but quite a number of actors from the ecosystem, and that by walking around the land, you would have a live, lived experience of what an ecosystem mapping maybe should feel like.
So I want you to talk about the land, but connecting with the mapping. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've had an allergy to mapping for a long time, somehow intrinsically. Not that it's bad, it's like the maps of the human systems go out of date so quickly.
Yeah.
No matter how big an effort it is to make a map of whatever humans, it's out of date like this. And what most people don't appreciate, it's a million times more effort to keep it up to date than it is to actually make it, which is already a massive effort. For me personally, and I think what the gathering supports is, rather than trying to create huge, high-level ecosystemic maps, to create more smaller but much richer semantically maps, right? It's nice to know the 5,000 people doing permaculture design in Europe. I would rather have 5 people who have a strong relationship, who I know I can pick up the phone and like this start a project together, because we have enough of a shared basis. I know how they work. I know who they like to work with. I know their availability, like I know what price level, what size project, right? So I think those kinds of much deeper map, less nodes, but much more semantic information maps are very important. And I think that's the kind of maps that the gathering helps, right? It's nice, yeah, you can come out of the gathering knowing 50 new people, you will. But what I really hope is that 5 of those people, you have at like the start of a meaningful, long-term, possibly lifelong relationship of connecting for action. But tell us about the land.
It's very green. So for those who, the camp builders and camp catalysts that were at the nest earlier this week, we had a little tour of the land. I will post the recording online very soon, so you can have a look. The land is incredible. I mean, Victor and I went there in late February. It was it was beautiful, but it was very rainy, very mossy, and definitely a different vibe. So I'm super happy. I had really good meetings with the team here at the garden. We're really working to develop a partnership that's not about a business relation between a venue and an event production company, but something that tries to go a lot deeper. I think there's a lot of alignment. It was quite funky because I was here for this whole week, which happened to be the build time of the small burn that they're organizing here called Somewhere, which was actually perfect, right? Because it was the same energy of a community forming like it will happen at the gathering. And how do we sort of prepare the land for a co-created decentralized event? So sort of a 6 times smaller mini version of what's going to happen at the gathering. And then I don't want to bore anyone with the practical details. They're all available on the website, but we have done the very first rough draft of the zoning of the land. Yeah, that's it. So just so you know, the camps are now divided in 3 categories: large, medium, or small camps. And we will be assigning you very beautiful locations as we move forward. There is a crystal clear water lake to swim in, ever flowing springs and flowers everywhere, and it's just really quite special. I will post more photos on our Camp Builders channels, but quite a lot are already in there. Do you have any questions? Is there anything I should share that I'm not?
No, I think it's good. The concrete questions, everybody is welcome to share in the directly with us in the Telegram channel. Also, I wanted to add the many of the camps are putting up their information pages. I'm super excited to hear that Frequency Village is building a kids friendly camp, because this is very important. So children are very much welcome. We have, I guess, what did we decide? Until 12 kids are
Yeah,
free?
yeah, until 12 kids are free. We
So it's,
matched Frequency Village.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, again, go on our website. If you click on get your tickets, you will get access to the page with all the camps, which I may or may not have in the background and be browsing because it's so beautiful to see all of those babies coming alive. So we now have, I think, 10 camps that are already selling tickets, and probably between 5 and 10 in the coming week or 2 weeks that will be joining them. That's all very exciting. And then you all know we have shared again and again the deadline to sign up as a camp, which is technically tomorrow, 1st of June. We are very kind humans and we want the collective to come together. So we are quite flexible with the deadline, but the sooner the better. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first week of June, and then I guess after that it will, as we apportion the camps and so forth, that will depend. Similarly with tickets, it feels like probably tickets will sell out this year, so be good to jump in and just start firming up your plans.
Yes, that's another thing on the land is that it's very beautiful and it's not huge. So we do have, I mean, it is huge, but it's about 5 or 6 hectares. So we will be maxing out the venue. I've said it many times, I think. So
It's spacious but limited.
exactly, spacious but limited. So yeah, really first come, first serve. So the earlier the better in terms of tickets. Yeah.
Nice.
All
See you
right. See you in 2 weeks, everyone. Ciao, ciao.